Ladies and gentlemen, I am almost done with Wano. I'm at the final fight. Luffy is in full gear 5 at the moment, and Kaido and him are going at it. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is Nami and the biggest changes that we've seen from her. To be honest, I've been surprised. I've been shocked. I mean, it doesn't even seem like the same person. Now, before we start, I want to read one verse to you. Ephesians 5 says, "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, and Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." The first time that I was surprised by Nami was when she was fighting that dino chick. And they get to the point where they're going back and forth and they're arguing about who's going to be king of the pirates, right? The dino girl, she's fighting, saying no, Kaido's gonna be king of the pirates. Nami's like, no, Luffy's gonna be king of the pirates. They get to a point where the dino person's like slamming Nami in the head, and she's like, you need to say that Kaido is going to be king of the pirates. And man, you see like this. I love this scene because you can clearly see in the emotions of Nami that, like, dude, like, she wants to lie, go against her beliefs, but at the same time, like, she is unwilling to betray Luffy. And ultimately, she says, no, Luffy is going to be king of the pirates. And this is at the risk of her dying, right? And this is so different from the Nami that we've seen, where she's always running away. She doesn't care about lying. She's willing to lie if she has to. But in this case, when it comes to Luffy, she is unwilling to betray him. And this is further cemented in a second part where Kaido seemingly like defeats Luffy, and he comes down and he's saying that Luffy is dead, like he's been defeated. And Nami is the first one, right? All the other Straw Hats that are conscious, right? Because all of them are pretty much down for the count. A lot of them are worried, oh no, Luffy is dead. But she's like, no, Luffy would not do this. He said that he was going to win, and I believe he's going to win. And she stands up to Kaido, an even more fearful enemy than the person that she was facing before. And again, you see in her a sense of fear and hesitation, but she bypasses all of that and still stays firm to what she believes. And this like actually reminded me of when we first met Nami, right? And it reminds me of how in that moment she was telling Luffy to get away from her. This is not his business. And there is this interaction that happens between the two where she is completely without any hope. Luffy approaches her, and to me still today is like one of the most emotional moments in One Piece, maybe in anime history, where Luffy just stands there, right? And she's just like hopeless, crying, and then she says like, help me. And we see this epic scene, this memorable scene where Luffy says, of course I will, and he shouts it. And again, this was an enemy that for Nami couldn't be defeated, right? Arlong. And yet in that moment, Luffy was there and he promised that he would win, and he delivered, and he's done so throughout the series. So I can't help but to think that, I mean, you know, the anime and the author don't really reminisce on that, and maybe it would have been like a cool point where she kind of reminisces and remembers all of these things, but she's always seen Luffy coming through in the end, and it has cemented this unwavering faith that she has for Luffy. And it's not just her, it's that every single Straw Hat during this entire fight understands and knows that Luffy, and believe that Luffy is going to come through in the end. And man, it's just, as I finished those episodes and moving on to this fight, I just started thinking of how much Nami has changed and how loyal she is to Luffy. And to be honest, she may be one of the most loyal characters outside of Zoro, I would say, to Luffy. And I've always seen, these like pictures of like Luffy and Nami, or Luffy and what is it? What is her name? I forget. You guys let me know in the comments. But I wouldn't mind if, like, at the end of it, I know that the focus of One Piece is not like romance, but I wouldn't mind it if at the end of it all, Luffy and her end up being together. To me right now, it just seems like it would fit. I don't know. I wanted to share this with you guys because to me, in Wano, as I'm catching up, this is one of the things that really stood out to me, and I wanted to share with you. Let me know in the comments, did this scene stood out to you? Was there anything else that was unexpected from the other Straw Hats that you've seen in this arc of Wano? Let me know in the comments, and as always, just want to remind you that we must persevere.